breaking the wall to socio-ecological well-being in fishing villages. Emmy Koch, Coast to Coast, Peru.
Nine years ago, I met a little girl named Noor on a remote island in Indonesia during one of our first coast-to-coast workshops with a local school. Some students were learning to surf while others were painting a mural. Noor's group was on assignment, photographing what they loved most about their community. Noor presented me with a portrait she had taken of her grandmother enjoying a plate of rice and fried fish. Noor captioned her photo, "Rice and fish are best friends, but fish doesn't come around as much anymore, and that makes rice and me very sad." When Nico and I first started Coast to Coast, we thought of it more as a lifestyle than a nonprofit, traveling and spreading good vibes through our passions of surfing and storytelling with others. But after Noor's story about food security, I realized that we were daylighting some pretty intense issues here and had a responsibility to address them. Artisanal fisheries like Noor's community are lifelines for millions, ensuring cash and calories while fostering deep-rooted environmental connections. However, in a changing climate and industrializing planet, their well-being is rapidly eroding just like their coastlines. There are far less fish and way more problems. Parents no longer pass on traditional knowledge as they used to, and rural curricula often fuel an exodus to urban centers. What then becomes of a fishing village without fish or villagers? I doubt it's a marine protected area. For small-scale fisheries to survive and communities to thrive, young people need tailored educational opportunities to their unique strengths, aspirations, and challenges that build resilience. So that's where we come in. Today, Coast to Coast is a community-based nonprofit that weaves investigation with imagination, engaging young learners and educators in fishing villages to explore both their natural and built surroundings through the power of play, enchantment, and still good vibes, gathering and mobilizing knowledge for sustained social ecological well-being. First, we start in a circle and we partner with rural schools and start as a team of edutainers. We start in a circle where teachers and students are welcome to discuss relevant topics often missing from their state-mandated curriculums, like marine biodiversity and plastic pollution. Next, we venture outside the classrooms and combine participatory research approaches like interviews and surveys with storytelling tools like audio devices and digital cameras. Back in the classroom, we complement data collected with scientific studies and co-create outputs like murals, comics, maps, and more. We celebrate students' work through a community exhibition and partner with their consent, partner with research groups that use insights to advocate for more holistic fisheries management strategies. From coast to coast, we've engaged over 6,000 students in around 50 fishing villages. Last year, during the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture, we worked with the UN to transform the Small-Scale Fisheries Guidelines, a very important but rather boring policy instrument that safeguards the human rights of fisheries, into a hands-on curriculum. We worked with teachers in Madagascar, Nigeria, India, and Peru to co-create lesson plans that enable students to simultaneously gain and contribute to a kaleidoscopic understanding of their fishery while monitoring the guidelines' local implementation, holding their governments accountable. Today, literally today, my team is working with the Peruvian government in national reserves, in Nazca, to support local youth input into conservation plans into marine reserves. The biggest lesson I have learned is to trust in the power of enchantment. That incredible feeling when you bite into a delicious sandwich or marvel at a sunset. Enchantment has the power to cultivate ties between people and places that goes beyond our understanding of time and space and even ourselves. I see kids having this experience when they see their communities from behind the lens, beholding the ordinary as extraordinary. Recently, we partnered with archaeologists to excavate a site just 10 minutes from students' school. Having never heard of the place or been there before, we were all visibly shocked to see 2,000-year-old skeletons just tossed about the desert after tomb raiders had gone and exhumed their graves, stolen artifacts, ripping pages out of a history book, as one archaeologist said. Inspired by the beloved movie Coco, students quickly changed their research subject to address the controversial issue of looting, made their own animation, and presented it to the local mayor, saying, "If we don't know our past, we don't know our future, and we're likely to disappear too." So whether it's the story of an ancient Chimu warrior or the friendship between rice and fish, we are breaking the walls to well-being in fishing communities by trusting in youthful curiosity and creativity, making sure the coast is clear for epic fishful futures. Thank you.
Thank you for your enthusiasm. So my question is, unfortunately, the concept of conservation for governments and as a also institutional concept oftentimes diverges substantially with what conservation means for ordinary people and local communities. So my question to you is like, how did you try to bridge these two dimensions, considering that you're also interfacing governmental actors?
I really appreciate that question. And honestly, when we are able to show some of these government officials like a stop motion animation or this incredible mural that students have made, it really touches, I think, on a different level, and they tend to kind of be a little bit more humbled by these perspectives. And so there's a bit more of a space to have a dialogue. And I think everyone feels a bit more relaxed because they're watching like something that's entertaining as well and coming straight from the kids' perspectives. And so I do believe that it really is through this enchantment and playful energy that we can get some messages across. But this is a big challenge that we do come across. Thank you for your question.
Congratulations, I'm here. How did you integrate the cultural perspective of the villages you're working, considering you're in different places?
Yeah, that's a great question. So really it's participatory. So we're sort of just there with tools and some different approaches, kind of like a menu, I guess, at a restaurant, and it's up to the community to sort of order what best fits for them. So we work with indigenous communities as well. We've begun to work in inland fishing communities, and it's really interesting to sort of compare. But again, it's just offerings, and the community decides.
Thank you for your talk. What are you expecting to get out of this on a bigger picture? Is there a policy recommendation? Are you also collecting data like citizen science? What do you aim to accomplish in the end?
It's a big question, and it's not lost on me that this is definitely an upward battle. But I think for me, it would be incredible if just kids in these rural communities have access to more quality educational opportunities, but also that even people who do not live in a fishing community, that if we order like a fish sandwich, we could just maybe ask the waiter like, oh, what kind of fish it is? Like, where did it come from? And just have a bit more of an awareness of this kind of nature connectedness, because I do think we're living in a time where we're getting further away from nature, at a time that nature's also lunging forward in the form of extreme weather events and such, and we're kind of have this gap between us. So I guess it sounds a little bit still in my surfer language, but just having a bit of a closer relationship with nature, I think, would help us move forward in the world a bit more sustainably.
Thank you. Perfect.